Boxing Ego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. What up, fight world? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Danny Jacobs, he's gearing up for the biggest fight of his career. He's had some great ones, but obviously this is considered the guy to beat in the division, Gennady Golovkin. March 18th, it goes down, Madison Square Garden, in his home state of New York. I'm looking forward to this fight, but as you guys seen from the title, Danny Jacobs has touched down in my neck of the woods, the Bay Area. He was at Virgil Hunter's gym. I don't have all the information. I don't know how long he's going to be staying, anything like that. I did, however, speak to his strength and conditioning coach, Dave, and I'm going to try to link up with him. He's going to be here for a shorter period of time because he has other fighters he trains too. He trains Luis Collazo. He has a fight against Sammy Vasquez. He also trains World Kid Ali, Saddam Ali, and he's also trained LL Cool J. When I'm alone in my room, sometimes I stare at the wall, and in the back of my mind, I hear my conscience. Y'all don't know about that old school LL. And obviously Danny Jacobs. So he's shaking and moving. I'm going to try to catch him while he's out here. And he's predicting Jacobs by KO. And again, I don't know the extent of everything with Danny Jacobs. I don't know how long he's going to be out here. But he has touchdown in the Bay Area at Virgil Hunter's gym. And I think it's a good look. Now, just to provide some clarity regarding the situation that I do know, Danny Jacobs is working with Virgil Hunter as like a secondary coach, right? It's not replacing his longtime coach, Rozier. There's some confusion about that. Some people think that Virgil Hunter is his primary coach, like in the corner for Andre Ward versus Kovalev. That's not the case. However, speaking of Ward Kovalev, Danny Jacobs is on record saying he was very impressed with the corner advice and just, I guess, the overall performance of Ward versus Kovalev, where he decided to make this move in, or not even move, but addition, I guess you can say, in terms of adding Virgil Hunter to his roster. And also Chris Algieri, who's going to do some meal prep and be working with him as well. A nutritionist, a guy who's went to school for this. Chris Algieri has degrees, I think more than one, bachelor degree, master degree, whatever, from his schooling in New York. So I like this. I told you guys this is a good fight. This is clearly, a lot of people are bringing up Danny Jacobs versus Dmitry Pirog. First of all, some of you guys don't even know Pirog because you weren't necessarily boxing fans back then. But just to let you guys know, at the time, this was right around the time where Golovkin was just first touching down on American soil, fighting and getting a name. His HBO debut was against Grzegorz Proska. He won that fight via stoppage, and he's been on a tear since, and he's been stopping guys since that. But Dmitry Pirog, he was the truth. He was a good fighter. A lot of people keep bringing this up, but it's boxing. I mean, we've seen Pacquiao's been knocked out more times than Danny Jacobs, and we've seen what he went on to do with his career, right? Sometimes early setbacks can improve a fighter. It really depends on the mental dexterity of the fighter, how tough they are. And Danny Jacobs, from what I've seen, I don't know him personally, but he's proven tough. I mean, anyone who faces crippling cancer head on and gets back into the ring after that, they said he would not be able to walk. That's pretty significant. They said it's wrapped around your spine, and the type of cancer you have and the stage it's in, it's not looking good. They thought he was going to die. They said even if you do make it, you probably won't be able to walk and things like that. So he overcame that, which is far more frightening than Gennady Golovkin, Canelo Alvarez, Floyd Mayweather, any fighter, right? Because that's a real life situation. Now, I'm not saying that unfortunate accidents don't happen inside the ring. Sometimes people do die and stuff, but I mean, you can't compare another fighter, another skill, two professional fighters to something that nobody can control like cancer, right? So I do think Danny Jacobs is just built tough in general. Now, that only goes a certain way. That doesn't mean he wins the fight based on being mentally tough, because skills pay the bills. Golovkin has showed time and time again he's gotten to this position based on his amateur pedigree, his power, his willingness to compete in really enforce his will. He cuts off the ring really good. So I'm looking forward to a good fight. But for the first time for me, I'm seeing him in there with a really live body with the certain attributes that I think could present some issue for Golovkin. And I haven't really seen many opponents that I've seen in the pros that I felt had like 2 or 3 marquee advantages or things that they brought to the table that would beat him. Like Golovkin has faced some punchers, but they were considerably shorter than him. Like Curtis Stevens. Look at this picture of Curtis Stevens. He's definitely shorter than Golovkin. So the problem is, unless you're a Mike Tyson with athleticism trained by Customato told Tyson, boxing is the art of being hit, where you can hit them and they can't hit you back. You know what I'm saying? Hit and don't get hit, the sweet science. So Tyson had the proper schooling. He also had head movement, and he would bend at the knees. He would pivot. He did a lot of things right, and it was countless hours. Watch the old YouTube videos of Mike Tyson with the double end bag just moving his head for 30 minutes or whatever, right? Getting punched with a medicine ball. Now, I'm not taking anything away from Curtis Stevens. He has a good fight I'm looking forward to versus David Lemieux. But even though they're both from Brownsville, Curtis Stevens, with his height deficit, doesn't fight like a Mike Tyson. They both have knockout power, right? But he doesn't work his way on the inside like a prime Tyson. So I knew that it would be hard to get on the inside. And to Curtis Stevens' credit, he was actually backing up Golovkin in spots. I think that's key. Oscar De La Hoya said it. I've been saying it, right? If Triple G doesn't respect what you're throwing, then he's going to try to get you up out of there. You have to find a way to make him fight off the back foot. And nobody so far with his limited competition as a pro has been able to successfully do that or do it long enough to wreak havoc or knock him down or win the fight, right? But it's kind of hard when some guys didn't have, I'm just going to be blunt. Some guys didn't have a shot. Like Willie Monroe, he's a solid fighter, but his biggest name on his resume, he lost to one of them, and that was Darnell Boone, right? Darnell Boone's a killer, but he's also a guy with multiple losses. Like, he has like 20 losses or something like that. And he has power. He beat Willie Monroe. And then the other big name before the Golovkin fight was Brian Vera. And Brian Vera lost to Chavez twice. Chavez Jr. got knocked out, I think, by Andy Lee and James Kirkland. Things like that. So that was the best name going onto his resume. So you have to, how is that going to rival, that level, pro level experience, going to rival someone with 350 amateur fights like Golovkin? And had more pro level experience fighting Gabe Rosado and whoever else he fought up until the point he fought Willie Monroe, right? Daniel Gill and stuff. It's just not going to equate to that. Plus, he only had 6 knockouts, so he clearly doesn't have the power to really hurt Golovkin, who shows to have a pretty solid beard so far, thus far. And that means you got to look at it. Simple math. If Golovkin is known as an offensive fighter, crazy power, good offense, pinpoint accuracy with his shots, and you have 6 knockouts, then it's pretty safe to say that you're not knocking him out. Which means the only other option for you to win the fight is to endure everything he's throwing at you without getting hurt and getting knocked down. Because if you put yourself in too much of a hole, multiple knockdowns, then how are you going to win the fight? You're going to need a knockout to win, which you cannot produce because you don't have the power to knock him out. You get me? Follow me? So Willie Monroe, he would have to fight the perfect fight. Point blank, period. He would have to outbox. He would have to do like Mayweather does with bigger guys, right? Where he's hitting them with precision shots, rocking his head back like Robert Guerrero or Maidana or Canelo, to the point where you can't dispute. That means his defense has to be really tight, his ring IQ, his savvy, because you would have to outbox him. And that's just the reality of it, right? And that's why I don't give guys like Willie Monroe. Golovkin has showed time and time again he's good at cutting off the ring. So you can say whatever you want. Oh, no one wants to fight Golovkin. This is just who he's fought for whatever reason. Canelo vacated the belt, okay, but this doesn't change the fact that his competition has been limited. I really have not seen anybody that I would put in the ranks of a Danny Jacobs. Even though Jacobs has been stopped, I can't think of one person where I think they have as much of an advantage if fought in the proper way as Danny Jacobs. That's just how I see it. Like Daniel Gill, Who is he beat? He lost to Darren Barker. Later had a tough fight with Jared Fletcher, a guy that Danny Jacobs knocked out, right? Got stopped by Miguel Cotto. Easy work. And Cotto's not even a real middleweight, but whatever. And he just got stopped by the guy Chris Eubank Jr. is fighting, Reynold Quinlan. He moved up and got stopped. I mean, so like in the grand scheme of things, who's Gil? Like, who is he beat? Who, like Matthew Macklin? He's solid, but every time he steps up for a title, he comes up short. Sergio Martinez, okay, maybe he should have got another knockdown. I personally had him winning, but they didn't give him the fight. So he didn't live like a champion and get the confidence that a champion would get when they become a champion, like Joseph Parker beating Andy Ruiz. He got the nod, so now he's living like a champion. Him and his family are having victory parties and stuff like that. Matthew Macklin couldn't do that because even in his controversial fights, like the Felix Sturm, you can say, oh, Macklin won. Or not what's his name? Martin Murray. You can say Martin Murray won. But at the end of the day, he didn't win on the judge's scorecard, and that's where it counts because that's where you're going to get the confidence, knowing you didn't get jobbed. So Danny Jacobs, as far as I am concerned, he's the guy with the most intangibles and the most things that you could stack well with Golovkin. And again, this is not saying he beats Golovkin, but it's an interesting fight. I will say that. He's more explosive than a lot of Golovkin's past opposition. He's taller with power. Like, you can look at Ishida. Ishida was noticeably taller than Golovkin, but Ishida was a 154-pounder whose claim to fame was beating James Kirkland, a guy who doesn't always seem like he has it up top, like put together to be mentally stable in the ring, right? And then he moved up and got slaughtered by Golovkin in like 3 rounds, got brutally knocked out in a fight that HBO didn't even pick up. So, I mean, why would I give Ishida a shot to move up 6 pounds and beat Golovkin, right? Gabe Rosado, another guy who he was supposed to fight Golovkin at a catchweight, but him being a tough Philly fighter, he's like, nah, I don't want no excuses. I'll go up to the full 160. Gabe Rosado was doing well for himself and moving up the 154-pound rankings, right? And he was supposed to be in line for a Cornelius K9 Bundridge fight at 154, but then he got the call, hey, we want you to fight Golovkin. Golovkin had only fought once on HBO against Proska, so maybe Team Rosado didn't do their full research and see this guy. Maybe this is not the best move because this guy looks to be the goods and you're moving up 6 pounds. They took the fight, took the money, and then Golovkin beat him allegedly with the flu, right? But he was still a 54-pounder. No time to acclimate. And you guys can not listen to what I say and when I interview Troy and what he's saying about inactivity and moving up in weight and acclimating, but it's a reality. This is what happens if you rush up and fight the best in the division. Like Martin said in Bad Boys, good luck. But there's no excuses for the winner of this fight. Jacobs has bounced back since being struck with cancer. He's bounced back since being knocked out to parole, and he's on a win streak. Same thing with Golovkin. He's the undefeated guy. He's the alleged boogeyman. So the winner gets full credit for this win. There's no excuse. You can't say, oh, I didn't have a proper training camp. Jacobs is doing what he thinks he needs to do, implementing some new additions to his team, right? He's explosive. He has an amateur pedigree. This is the best fight. Let me know what you guys think. Jacobs has touchdown in the Bay Area. Let me know what you think. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you share the video, like the video. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.